There's a new stud in town. What'd you hear about him? Well, they said that he's big and strong and good looking.
Gotta get your act together.
Harder, stronger, harder, stronger, harder, stronger.
Hairy, sweaty, macho.
Real physical strength. He'll never stop.
Are you interested in losing a lot of body fat very quickly? Yeah, pretty much everybody perked up on that one. So listen up. I was scrolling through good old Instagram, as I am wont to do sometimes, and I saw my friend Vinny Tortorich put up a post about protein-sparing modified fasts. These are things that have been around a long time, and there's been a lot of studying, and there's been a lot of anecdotal kind of appreciation for them. People that are very overweight, high-level athletes who are super shredded, have been using protein-sparing modified fasts quite successfully for a long time. And the reason I wanted to talk about them today is because I'm a big proponent, and this won't shock anybody who has any familiarity with me changing physiques and working with people, and even in my own life, I'm a big proponent of kind of slow and easy, having patience and consistency, not doing things that are too extreme to try to get results quickly. Instant gratification just doesn't really end up serving people very well in reality. It sounds great, but it doesn't end up being something that long term leads to much success and happiness. And although I stand behind that, and I think that that is true, there's a big problem when you're talking about fat loss. And that is when you're doing the slow and steady patience approach, oftentimes it can just be so mind-numbingly frustrating that you oftentimes, if you want to have real success, need a kind of kick in the pants. And that is where the protein-sparing modified fast comes into play. It is the most effective and the most practical way to go about losing body fat, not body weight, body fat, in a meaningful way. I mean, I started off by saying, who amongst us isn't really interested in losing considerable amounts of body fat in a short amount of time? Well, in order to do so, you have to achieve two things. A caloric deficit, obviously, and also a very high level of amino acids, aka protein, because you must spare the protein, muscle protein, when you're in this dramatic deficit. Otherwise, you are going to lose water, other fluids, and muscle tissue before you lose body fat, preferentially by the way that the body works. It's a biological thing. So the nuts and bolts are this. There's going to be some similarities to what you guys typically know of as ketogenic or low-carb diets. But the reality is that the major difference is that this is a very high protein, high lean protein diet. Ketogenic, traditional therapeutic ketogenic diets are not that high in protein, regardless of what the general public may think. They are very high in dietary fat, and they have marginal amounts of protein. Not zero, but a rather moderate, small amount. So what you're doing is you're flooding your body with an extremely high level of protein and a low level of fat with an addition of multivitamins, multi-minerals, things like that to kind of fill nutritional gaps, and fibrous vegetables to keep things flowing. A lot of these fibrous vegetables are going to be really good at giving you what your body needs micronutrient-wise without spiking blood sugar, without giving you an insulin response. Things like different forms of lettuces, different forms of cabbage, broccoli, asparagus, zucchini, the kind of old-fashioned weight loss, bodybuilding diet staples. Is a protein-sparing modified fast right for you? Maybe. It is not something that I think you should jump into willy-nilly without really having someone instruct you on how to do it or walk you through it. So check out my Patreon if you're interested, or if you're already a top-tier Patreon client, talk to me about saying, hey, let's kick things up a notch, and for the next 6 weeks or so, really lay it on thick so that it motivates me to keep going. And also, one of the greatest motivators is results, especially when you're talking about body recomposition. Nothing nothing motivates you to kind of stay in the game more than waking up and looking in the mirror and going, God, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Seeing those first couple abs pop out, seeing your cheekbones get exposed in a way that they haven't been in a long time. You know what I'm talking about. But like I said, if you don't have to work with me, I'm not trying to do a sales pitch, but do make sure if you're going to engage in a real successful and well-structured protein sparing fast, that you have someone guide you through it. Lyle McDonald is excellent. I recommend Lyle when it comes to anything regarding rather high level body fat loss or body recomposition dieting. Lyle McDonald is he's a wizard. But also, and this is the hard part, be honest with yourself. Are you just looking for the easy way out? Because this is not easy. This is something that takes commitment, and it takes a rather prolonged, and not as prolonged as a normal diet, but you're talking about at the very least 3-4 weeks of eating really low amounts of food that most people don't find all that yummy, but the results are rather staggering. So are you someone who could use that? Are you someone who's been dieting a while and you've kind of plateaued? Are you someone who's dramatically overweight and finds it very hard to even get started on a diet because of how hard it is to just kind of get on the horse and saddle up, and you maybe need some real juice to get you going? Are you someone who has a big event coming up in 6 weeks, a wedding or a athletic event that you have to make weight in? These are all situations where you find it kind of, I guess, reasonable to look to a protein sparing modified fast. If you're just someone who's putting in the work and the effort and you want to make it go faster, I don't recommend it. I think this is for either someone who is already so lean that they've inevitably hit their natural plateaus and blockades, or someone who has real emotional, psychological problems with kind of consistently going after what you need to go after when it comes to dieting, or someone who has a great, important, meaningful event coming up where you have to be a lot leaner. Okay. Contact me if you're interested at Mike Catherwood on all the relevant social media, and links are in my profile if you're interested in not only doing a protein sparing modified fast, but something that can change the way you look and change the way you feel. Because I'm here to help and I actually enjoy it. And in this crazy mix up world that makes you think that nobody cares, remember, I do be good.